Hello, and welcome to Making Connections, an expert series presented by Brennan Industries. I'm your host, Kenesha Johnson. Today, we are joined by two guests. First, Chuck Connors, CEO of Omni Services.
Hi, Kenesha. I appreciate you having us on.
Thanks for coming on the show today, Chuck. Additionally, we're also joined by Brad Rico, Executive Vice President of Brennan Industries.
Hi, Kenesha, and thank you for putting this together for us.
Glad to have you, Brad. So first of all, let's get to know the two of you a little bit. So Chuck, we'll start with you. Tell us a little about your company, who your organization is, and what they do.
Yeah, Omni Services, we're headquartered in Worcester, Massachusetts. We have 18 locations, principally throughout the East, and one in Canada, 17 in the USA and one in Canada. And we're basically a distributor, fabricator, actually slash manufacturer. And we've been in business since 1976, and there's been a lot of changes along the way. But we employ about 128 people, actually 131 now. We added some people. We remained independent. We're family owned, and we're having a lot of great momentum and success in the recent years.
That's great. And now, Brad, over to you. Can you give us a quick overview of Brennan Industries?
Well, just like Chuck said, we're also an independent company. We've been in business since 1953. So Brennan Industries is a manufacturer of fittings. Every type of fitting you can imagine, we manufacture, and from the lowest of low pressures to the highest of high pressures. I think we have 120,000 different SKUs. We manufacture globally. We manufacture here in the United States, in Canada. We manufacture in the UK, in Taiwan, in China, in the good Korea. And we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we pride ourselves on how we go to business. So we go to business through distributors. We've been partners with Omni and supplying to Omni for many years, but how we started was through distribution, and that's where we continue to have a stronghold in helping distribution grow their business.
Chuck, what does your company offer that is unique from your competitors?
Well, I think it's the total focus we have on fluid conveyance. A lot of distribution companies are kind of a mix. And for instance, in the pure conveyance of any media, whether it be gas or oil or water, deionized water, the many medias, if you will, we really are only involved in transferring and conveying the media. Many companies are also involved in the propulsion or powering the media and as a result, fluid conveyance takes on kind of a secondary status, if you will. The real prime rib products for, say, a motion control company are the pumps and the motors that do propel the media. And years ago, we decided that no one really focused truly on the conveyance, and there were lots of mistakes in the marketplace. I mean, dangerous mistakes. And my partner and I, we set out to teach the industrial customer the importance of fluid conveyance in and of itself.
Great, that's really interesting. And Brad, what would you say differentiates Brennan?
You heard Chuck's answer, and Chuck's answer was very specific but very broad. And one of the abilities of Brennan Industries has been able, and I say this, no pun intended, but it's being able to adapt, right? We have to figure out ways to connect with our customers, and identifying what their needs and their requirements are is what helps us become a better company. And the more information we get, and the more information that we're able to use and better our solutions and tailor those solutions to meet the expectations of the industry.
I just want to comment on that. I couldn't agree more with that. And ultimately, we will have been successful as a company with a customer when the customer views Omni as being on their staff. That really is, if you will, the end zone that we strive for all the time. And when you have a good supplier partnership like Omni does with Brennan, it's the totality of that. It's really the whole channel, the whole supply channel, and the partners in it. So
great,
Yeah,
thanks for adding
very
that.
true.
Now, Chuck, back to you again. What are the biggest changes you've seen take place in the industry during your career?
um, I would say that distribution for the longest time had a bad name. I mean, quote, middleman, why do we have to pay a middleman? And, distribution's a necessary evil. And I think there was some foundation to that because, back in the early years, in the early 70s, it was, if you will, a pick and ship existence. And customers would say, well, why can't I buy it directly from the from the manufacturer?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, distribution was locally located near your businesses, but overall, I think the value in the delivery wasn't necessarily striking. Where the shift now today is that it's a global market. When it was a USA market and we made everything, that was one type of existence. But now in the global market, we distributors are now delivering value, and that's the big differentiator. And as a result, distribution is now seen as being very progressive. I mean, that's why it's many investment companies want to be involved in distribution because they have hard assets and they deliver a lot of value and help end users be successful.
So next, what do you see currently going on in the hydraulic components marketplace, and especially in hydraulic supply? Chuck, why don't you start us off again?
I think the big four issues that we've all encountered, and it's unprecedented, is personnel shortages, raw material shortages, COVID, and that still lingers over our head, and logistics. I mean, I've never seen logistic jam ups like we've had now. So what are the impacts? It's inventory, the dollars. I mean, you better spend. It's very impactful on cash flow. But what are the results? I think the good results are that because of, say, for instance, personnel shortages, companies that normally would have been vertically integrated and they made everything right inside their building, whether it be painting their product or forming sheet metal or whatever, that's changing. So many original equipment manufacturers, or what we term OEMs, they're now shifting to what I call, quote, design and assemble, so that they run more lean, and they get their product arriving just in time. And basically, between, say, a Brennan and an Omni, we manage their channel and getting the products to them. So that's a big shift. That's a big outsource, and I think that's going to continue. And the second one, as a result of all this, are auxiliary products. I mean, that for the longest time, oh, this product is no alternatives, and out of necessity, customers are now being forced to elasticize and to look at other products. And what comes out of that, I think, some solutions. I think there's some staid old approaches that are in place. And I think that, out of confusion can come progress. I really mean that.
I definitely agree with you when you talk about those big four and finding strategies to be successful within those big four that you talked about. And if you look back over the last 20 years of us being in business, I think they're going to be writing books about some of the things that we've had to overcome and to get through. I mean, we've gone through the Great Recession, as they called it. We've gone through the pandemic. We've gone through so many issues. And you talk about logistics, you talk about some of these other things, and dealing with all of them, figuring out how to keep product and supply product so that you can meet your delivery requirements, Chuck. We've put together strategies just on that, and it's been difficult, as you've mentioned. Having inventory in place is, again, working with companies like yourself that provide information that we can help build our strategies around. We can start building our production requirements around, and that flow of information between the manufacturer, between the distributor, between the end customers. It's all critical that we play a vital role in that back and forth information.
Yeah, and I think on the inventory basis, Brad, you really think about it that, for years and years, the customer oftentimes was sharing, in the burden of holding all of this product. And that's crazy. I mean, Omni Services, our direct labor and our direct overhead is about connector products and hose products. And, why a customer will be sitting on that same amount of dollars and cents in his building is just foolish. It's not good business. And I think that's one of the things in the channel that we're working on, and that you guys do a great job of helping us manage that, because I think, that's where, say a Brennan and an Omni really dovetail in terms of helping the end user.
Yeah. We have to be on the same page now. We have supply agreements that we've put in place to make sure that, Chuck and Omni Services have their products when they need their products, and our production schedules are built around that.
Mm-hmm.
The logistics, what used to take, it used to take about 8 weeks for us to produce a product, transfer that product, another 4 weeks on top of that. So 12 weeks, we would produce a product and have that production run complete and in our inventory. Now, with some of the logistics issues that have happened over the last couple of months to the last year, that 12 weeks is now 16, 24, almost, and in some cases, almost to an entire year of scheduling. So it has to be cohesive partnerships.
And Brad, think about over the years how at times manufacturers would really kind of not have a full disdain towards distribution, but they'd be very frustrated with them. And equally, distributors become frustrated with the manufacturer suppliers. But, now, what we feel is, Omni needs to share in the burden. Part of the value we provide and to both our end user and to our supplier, like Brennan, is that we share in the burden by keeping inventory, taking some of the money and putting it in. That's value in and of itself to you, especially when it gets deliveries become acutely long and lead times. So that's important. And that's really where the distributor can play a great role, is help the manufacturer during these times as well as the customer.
Thanks for sharing that. So just a few questions left, starting with Omni Services. How does your company plan to recruit and retain good talent with the changing hiring landscape?
Short answer, run a good company. Run a good company, because your people talk, suppliers talk about you, and you get a reputation. And, when that reputation is pretty uniform, that helps. And every member of your company is a recruiter. And I think that, that's how we approach it. And I think, when they talk it up, for instance, everyone in our company is paid in some way, shape, or form on performance-based pay. Whether it's the least amount of errors in our warehouse. Every person has some form of performance-based pay. And, what does that lead to? So when someone's saying, hey, he's looking at this company, we have them speak to our people. And, what kind of a culture and environment do you live in? And equally, recognition. We recognize and we pay our people on merit and on performance-based.
Great. So we may have covered a bit of this already, but where do you think much of this industry and this market is headed? Brad, we'll start with you.
Well, that's a great question. This industry, we talked a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
We do think this industry is headed for a little bit of contraction. We do think this industry is starting to catch up with some of the other industries. We've always been looked at as kind of a slow to sophistication or slow to technology industry. And we're starting to see major changes in that now, where people are looking at artificial intelligence to make decisions. People are looking at, as Chuck mentioned, electrification. People are looking at different solutions to provide what we consider premier hydraulic applications. So the amount of technology that is coming into our industry, it goes beyond just the product. It goes into the processes and the systems that are driving our industry right now. So we see that will continue, and we do think that putting a heavy concentration on adding more and more and more of that level of intelligence to our systems, to our processes, will enable us to meet the future demands of this industry.
Great, great. So Chuck, Brad, thank you both so much for joining us and sharing your insights on the hydraulic industry. Chuck, we appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you again. I enjoyed it.
And Brad, thank you as well.
Thank you, Kenesha. I also enjoyed it.
Appreciate that. Join us again next time on Making Connections, where we plan to meet with the Regional Vice President of Hydraulic Supply Company. See you next time.